The last 17 years have been pretty exciting and progressive. Would you agree? Yes. Well, as the old saying goes, you ain't seen nothing yet, because the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see a number of projects come to fruition that are going to change the face of this city, and do so in a positive fashion. And again, that comes at the direction of much of what Ed has envisioned. He served on our master community plan since the day it was conceived. He has been integral in the partnership, and he serves on the Economic Development Board, and the list just goes on and on and on of the boards and commissions that he serves on. With that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mr. Ed Driggers, our City Administrator.
Welcome to the City of Greer, one of South Carolina's fastest growing cities.
We're located in the beautiful upstate of South Carolina, with easy access to both the mountains and the coast.
Greer has been recognized as a top city for young families, and it's easy to see why.
Enjoy a concert or summer movie at the City Park Amphitheater.
Join one of our many celebrations.
Or maybe you stroll along a walking trail.
Greer residents have access to state-of-the-art medical facilities
and schools that rank among the best in the state.
We're the City of Greer.
We offer big city amenities and small town charm.
So why not come visit us and experience all that Greer has to offer?
It'll be our pleasure to say,
welcome.
Welcome
to the City of Greer.
Welcome to the City of Greer. Welcome to Greer City Hall. Welcome to the Event Center at Greer City Hall. It is indeed my privilege. It is a great honor for me to have the opportunity to come before this group and share some comments with you, Mayor Danner. Thank you so very, very much. If you want to keep me, just keep keeping me. I love you, man. No, in all seriousness, when you are in this type of a profession, as many of you are in your own professional lives, you have those opportunities to look at other places. You have those opportunities to be considered for other places. And sometimes that's right, and sometimes it's not right. For me, I was in a position similar to what I do today. And it was right for me to come here. It was right for my family. It was right for me professionally. And it has been a really good fit for me. And so over the last 18 years that I've been here, and going into my 18th year, those challenges and those opportunities continue to present themselves. And so when I look at this as a community and what I'm involved in, and when I have those opportunities to look at other places, I come back and I remember the very thing that Mayor Danner said to me in February of 2000 when I interviewed with him and the other members of the elected council, and he said, if you'll come, you'll never regret it. He said, I'm not from here, but I've never regretted making this my home. Neither do I. It is a wonderful community. It is a place for us all to raise our families, to have our businesses, to make our investments. It gives us a place to recreate. It gives us a place to be. And one of the things that we are charged with as a municipality, we are charged with this responsibility of trying to figure out how do we create these places? How do we create areas that people want to be so that they don't leave here and want to go somewhere else relative to recreation, relative to arts, relative to employment. If we are able to do those things in our own community that make this a place that people, not only where they live, but a place where they invest, a place that they play, then we're in a position then to do some really great things. I had an opportunity a couple years ago to come before this group to share some information about our community master plan. And one of the things that we certainly recognize is location. Location for us is so very important. Had an opportunity yesterday, spent some time on the phone with Standard & Poor. We're doing a bond rating. You probably read about that in the paper. Getting ready to do some installment purchase revenue bonds. Going to do some really nice things with those. Going to use some of the monies that we have. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But had the opportunity to share with these folks from S&P about our community. And so we got to talk about, again, they're in New York. So we get to talk to them a bit about who we are and where we are. So we talk about this I-85 corridor between Charlotte and Atlanta, the Charlanta market. And then we get to talk a bit more about where we are as an upstate. We get to talk about this Spartanburg-Greenville corridor as you're coming through I-85. And what we remind folks of constantly is that the location for us is that we're right in the center of all of that activity. Whether that center is Charlotte to Atlanta or Spartanburg to Greenville, upstate South Carolina, we have the very good fortune by location to be in the center of that. It's what we do with that good fortune that really matters. I had an opportunity a few years back to chair this group and work with a wonderful group of folks in this community master plan, understanding what we want to do in moving from our first community master plan back in 2000, and then implementing a new master plan in 2015, and looking out over the next 15 years of how we wanted to go forward. Well, we had certain goals in this process that we knew that we needed to achieve, things that we wanted to make sure were at the front of our focus, of our activity. So we needed to create a community-wide vision to guide growth and development. The growth is occurring. I had an opportunity to talk with Dean Heibel a few moments ago at 10 at the top. They do a wonderful job looking at this large upstate area, 10 at the top, these 10 counties, and how we're going to be impacted by growth and development now and in the future. Well, we have to take that type of planning and that type of emphasis and we bring it back to where we are to make so that we're understanding exactly what those impacts are going to be for us now and in the future. We want to make sure that we're improving the stability, the physical condition, economic well-being of our city and our surrounding community. It isn't just about the city of Greer. There is a community out there called Greer that is outside the municipal limits of the city of Greer. And it is as important to the city of Greer and vice versa as you can possibly imagine. The success of the area, of the community of Greer, if the city is successful, Greer is successful. If Greer as a community is successful, the city is successful. And we have great leadership. Our mayor and our elected officials understand that it's not all about the city. It's about community. And when we were really able to focus on that, the city continues to grow. We continue to prosper. We continue to have investment in our community. Things are good. Things are well for us. And of course, we want to make it a more livable, sustainable community as we move toward 2030. When we look at this economic development model, we knew that we had to look at three primary things: physical, economic, and cultural. Share that with you in our community master plan. We've had an opportunity to talk about that before. But as we look at those areas, community-wide, we know that we've got to look at initiatives. We've got to have very specific community initiatives here in the Greer community. We've got to have a defined and agreed upon growth strategy. The growth is going to occur. We have to be involved in managing and planning that growth. We have to identify focus areas. Where are we can't do everything. And we can't do everything well. So we have to focus to make sure that our limited resources are being used in those areas that we as a community, you as a community, have said this is important to us. We have to develop framework plans. They have to be put into place. We have to adopt them. We do it. CPW does it. Greer Development Corporation does it. All of us are talking and planning so that as these efforts come together between now and 2030 and beyond, that we have done that very strategically and very intentionally. And of course, we have to have an action plan. So when you look at those areas, those three theme areas, you can certainly see from a community initiative standpoint that we want to create healthy neighborhoods, we want to promote our downtown, enhance our transportation choices, protect and promote environment, grow our local economy. Economic development is critically important to us, and enhancing those things that are uniquely Greer. So from our perspective in Greer, your medical facility is West Greer. We're East Greenville for you, but for us, it's West Greer. And so we certainly understand that, and we understand the impact that our partners in Greenville and our partners in Spartanburg, whether it's going to the west or it's going to the east for either of those markets, for us as a community, what is so important for us is how do we take the energy, the synergy, the planning, how do we take that and we make sure that we are a viable, important partner to Greenville, Spartanburg, in this upstate market. And we've been very, very successful with that. Well, we talked about this before. Who are we? Who is Greer? Very quickly, we know that we're growing. Population in our greater Greer area in excess of 80,000 at this point, inside the city limits in excess of 30,000 and growing. We're getting younger as a community. More people are moving into our community who are younger than they are in the surrounding communities around us. We know that we're becoming better educated and we're more affluent as a community. Doesn't mean we don't have work to do. Have lots of work to do. Workforce development, all of those things. We have plenty of work to do. But when we look at our demographics, when we look at who we are and who we are becoming, we know that we're becoming more educated and we're becoming more affluent. And those dollars are important to us as a community. And of course, we're growing and diversifying in our economy. Greer Development Corporation, our partners there, and our partners both at Greenville County and Spartanburg County and at the Department of Commerce for South Carolina, they are our partner, we are their partner. So it is important that we continue to diversify this economy that we have. If you've been here your entire life, you probably know we were a textile community. And when textiles died, the community came really close to it as well. And so certain things had to happen. Plans had to be put into place. Now, one of those things that happened for us is the BMW came to our community. And when it did, it initiated a lot of things that began to happen. But we have to take those game changer opportunities and then we have to do something with them. So through our planning process, we know that our master plan organizes us to be able to do certain things. Certain key things were important for us to make sure that we were concentrating in those areas. And so you can see those here. I won't read them to you, but we're going to talk a few moments about how we are implementing these types of things into the planning and into the success of what is happening here in our community. Well, as we developed the master plan, we knew that we needed to do this over a 15-year period, 2015 to 2030. We blocked that off in 5-year increments, and we are working on action plans right now specific to 2015 to 2020. Now, some of those that are beyond that, we're getting ahead. Some of those that we would like to do, we're not as far along in those as we would like to be at this point. But it's intentional. It's very intentional for us in that we know where we want to go. We're focused on it. You as a community came together and told us, this is my community. This is where I want this community to go. This process listened to you, and those action plans were put into place to say, how do we get there? Well, we can't do it all at once. The resources aren't there. They never will be all at one time. But we are able to implement strategies to do that. Well, one of the things that's most important for us as we are recognizing how we implement these action plans is through our preferred growth strategy. We spent an enormous amount of time trying to understand if growth is going to occur, how do we want that growth to occur? Where do we want it to happen? How do we manage that? How do we influence that? Well, we can do that through planning, zoning, those types of tools, but we have partners at Greer CPW that do that through utility. Development follows the utility. And so if we're very strategic and we're very intentional about where that utility is being located, we can manage and we can control where that growth is occurring. And by doing that, we have influence about how our roads are constructed and where and when improvements are made. So we begin to influence those processes through a preferred growth strategy simply by understanding it, simply by agreeing as a community, this is how we want to move forward. And of course, it's going to have impact to parks and rec and cultural arts and all of those things. And I mentioned transportation. I wanted to spend a little time talking about our focus areas and some things that are specifically happening in those areas. I want to talk to you today about downtown, Wade Hampton Boulevard, the Highway 14 corridor, as well as the 101 corridor, and some things that are happening. So let me tell you a little bit about what's happening at Wade Hampton Boulevard. Have you driven down Wade Hampton Boulevard at night in the last 3 months? Anybody? Let me see. Did you notice anything different? Lights. We're going from 93 high-pressure sodium lights that were sporadically placed on Wade Hampton Boulevard, working strategically with our partners at CPW, and we're going to approximately 300 LED fixtures that are very intentionally placed in intervals so that there is a consistent lighting pattern for 7 miles from city limit to city limit. We're at about the halfway point. And that project is moving along really well. It is part of our community master plan. Part of our planning process, part of what you said to us is that we want to see improvements to that major commercial corridor. And we said, well, what would those include? And lighting was one of those things. We will spend approximately $3 million on Wade Hampton Boulevard in 2017 and 2018. About $2.4 million of that is the lighting project. The other $600,000 will be in landscaping to the medians that we will be making right before the spring, this winter. And there will also be installation of landmark monument signage showing that you have approached into our community. City of Greer welcome signs of those types of things that will happen, and then also directional signs, wayfinding signage that will bring you in to downtown. So we're going to be spending about $3 million here between now and certainly before this time of next year. Very, very glad of that. We're continuing to see economic development, commercial development on Wade Hampton Boulevard. It is a great place for us to continue to make investment, and we will continue to do that. A couple of things relative to Highway 14, Highway 101. For a number of years, you know, we have been looking at trying to do gateway signage, gateway entranceways into our city. We're glad to announce that we are at that point. Highway 101, the City of Greer, BMW have reached a partnership agreement. We're going to build it, and they're going to help us maintain that. Going forward, you will see a very intentional landscaped area at the corridor of 101 and I-85. So the Interstate I-85, Highway 101 corridor will be completely re-landscaped. There will be signage for the approach to our community that will be placed in that area. It'll be a great front door for BMW. It's a great front door for us as a community. You'll also see us continuing the efforts that have already taken place with Spartanburg Regional Medical Center as a partnership with Spartanburg County for the landscaping and some signage there that is at 14 and 85, and we're going to be continuing to advance those improvements there as well. From the I-85 area, 14 and 101 are the main approaches to us as a community. We need to make sure that when people are coming to us, they recognize that they have arrived. That it's very important for us to extend that welcome mat that says, here you are, you are in Greer, this is a destination place for you. And we'll continue those efforts. But more specifically, what I wanted to spend a little time today is talking about what's happening in downtown. The impact, I believe, of what we will experience over the next year and a half and what we've already been involved in is going to be monumental for us from the perspective that we are looking at things differently. We are understanding and agreeing that if we want to be this community that people are excited about visiting and that they're excited about living in and they're excited about working in this community, then we've got to make the investments in this community to make those things happen. So through our community master plan, we've looked at a number of things in the downtown area. It really is tying us in from Wade Boulevard down Main Street, bringing us into what we call Greer Station, our traditional area here, our old central city. But it wasn't one that we could just dress it up. We couldn't just put out new benches and some flags. We could not go through a process of just saying paint and flowers will make that different. We needed to approach it from a perspective that says, what do we want to do? How do we get people here? How do we get them to enjoy what's going to happen? And that really is what drove a process of us continuing to work with Kimley Horn, our advisors in this process, the professional urban planners, who came to us and said, consider some of these things. And one of those was the gateway from Wade Boulevard into downtown. Some of that was the streetscape involving downtown. It was also the creation of an arts district to the south of downtown, going to the Trade Street area. How are we able to do those things, and how are we able to plan for those things over time in a way that we will see it actually happen, and we don't put it in a plan and put it on a shelf? Because that's the worst thing that you can do, is go out and spend a couple $100,000 doing a wonderful plan and put a plan on the shelf. No one benefits from that. We didn't do it with our first plan. You're sitting in the results of our first community master plan, and we're certainly not going to do it with the one that we have in place now. So we're in a position that we are able to look at what can indeed happen here in this area. So we'll make some gateway improvements there at Wade Hampton, bringing folks into downtown. You'll see that in the way of signage. Some of that has already happened, because one of the things, Mark, I'm going to get on your shoulder, pardon me. One of the things that we needed to do as we were preparing for this is we needed to look at the corridors coming in to downtown, Poinsett Street, Main Street into downtown, the Barnett Bridge into downtown, and all of the central business district. Again, our partners at CPW, right out of that said, let's go ahead and get the LED lighting installed in that area so that we can give the community an opportunity to see what's coming. Yes, we think that's a wonderful idea. Let's jump out and do that right away. And we did. That's installed. And so from the Wade Hampton corridor, as you come in at the old Ryans, all of that is in place now. From Wade Hampton Boulevard at Main Street, we're bringing you in. We take you to the Barnett Bridge, and we've replaced all of that inefficient lighting that was downtown with very sustainable LED lighting. 10-year return on investment for us. We think that's pretty good. We keep streetlights a whole lot longer than 10 years. So with a 10-year investment, a 10-year return on investment, we're saving you money right out of the gate. And we're very, very excited about that. And we're changing the feel and the appearance and the dynamics of that as we do this process moving forward as well. So that's in place and it's moving forward. And you'll see the signage and a few things that will happen there as well. But then you're going to see us move into downtown, into the central business district, is where we have been planning for a number of years now of how that will happen. Again, work with our partners, talk with CPW and said, you know, we're getting ready to do a major downtown streetscape project. And CPW said, well, you know, we've got some pretty aging infrastructure down there. You know, some of that's getting to be 75, 80, I think even one of the worst, 90 years old infrastructure under the ground. Well, we don't need to go in and put $4 or $5 million on top of the ground when we've got a nearly 100-year-old infrastructure under the ground. And so to CPW's credit, they came right back and they said, this is our time. This is when we should go ahead and make our investment in improving and upgrading the infrastructure in our downtown area. And that's the work that you've been seeing. So what has been taking place there is preparing for what will happen above the ground. I remember a long time ago when I was doing this in another city, one of the comments that someone said, you sure are spending a lot of money, and I don't see anything happening. And I said, well, it's hard to see something happen when you dig a ditch, put a pipe in the ground, and cover it back up. But that's infrastructure. That's providing the things that you expect of a municipality. Whether it's the utility side or it's the city side, you are expecting those things of us, because here's what you want to make sure that happens. When you turn on the faucet, you want the water to come out. You flip the light switch, you want the lights to come on. And trust me, if you flush the toilet, you want that to go away. There's an expectation. And lots of times we take it for granted. But those are the types of services that, whether it's the utility side or it's the public service side, that we are out there every day doing. So we're going to approach this project from a perspective that says, how do we do it for the community? Infrastructure will get completed, they'll be done with that, and then we're going to come in, we're going to mobilize, and we're going to transform downtown. What you're going to see there is a streetscape that's called Shared Street. Shared Street simply means that no longer will there be a curb and gutter out there in the street. From the face of the building to the face of the building will be pavers all the way across. We will continue to have two-way traffic on that street. We will continue to have parking on that street. It will be designated by color pavers and markers and bollards and furniture and those types of things. But it will continue to operate as it operates today. But it will be designed in a way that when we have our very, very successful festivals like Family Fest, Oktoberfest, Freedom Blast, those things that we do here in our community, and more of those to come, we will have an environment that will be a plaza area. So Trade Street will be a gathering place for people. It will be a natural place for folks to come and to have outdoor dining and for them to shop and for them to spend time in their community. And obviously, it'll tie into the existing property that's here. We'll tie them into City Park, ties them into this complex, and everything starts to really come together. So you'll see construction, and we're going to do Trade Street first. I'm often asked that, what's going to be the order of things? We're going to start on Trade Street, on the lower end, near the railroad tracks, and we're going to work our way back up toward Poinsett Street. And when we complete that signature piece of this project, we're then going to come out and we're going to pave Poinsett Street, we're going to pave Main Street, we're going to pave the remainder of Randall Street, we're going to pave School Street, we're going to pave Victoria Street. All of those areas that are in our central business area will all be new. New asphalt, new concrete, new curb and gutter, new infrastructure under that. And that will last us for the next 100 years. And it will be how we are presenting ourselves moving forward. One of the things that we knew that we had to plan for in this process is to make sure we had adequate parking. It's kind of hard to see from where you are, but there's different types of lines that are dashed here. Some of these are existing parking. This is over here by the Greer Leaf Building. This is City Hall. This is the parking over by Police and Courts. We have some parking between School Street and Trade Street. These will stay basically the same. We will restripe those, make sure they're in good condition. We will completely resurface the lots that are in the core area. Those will be completely rebuilt, resurfaced. We will build a new lot behind the depot on the other side of the track. That's the old SCDOT building for folks that are familiar with the area. We will build new parking in that area. We will do improved parking along the area in front of the depot building, expanding that through a partnership with the owner of that building. And we're going to build a 300-space parking structure up here that's going to help support one of our our newest investments that's being made in downtown, and that's for a hotel project. A hotel project will locate on the property site here, that is at Poinsett and Main. It will be anchored by Poinsett Street, Main Street, Canyon Street, and Jason Street. And we will expand our streetscape to make sure that all of that area is covered as well. We're going to make a $1.8 million incentive investment to help make sure that happens. And I'm often asked, why would you use public money to incentivize a private project? And I'm going to give you the very simple answer. It wouldn't have happened without it. It's that simple. We could not, because we've been working on this a long time. So to incentivize the project, we get it to the point to make it happen. That's what our elected officials are doing. They're making things happen. They're committed to that. And they're doing that in very intentional, very strategic ways. We're going to go out and we're going to borrow some money to build this parking structure. We're going to borrow some money that's going to help us do other things. But we're going to borrow that money and your taxes are not going up. And that doesn't happen in many places. We have the capacity, because of the growth in our community, we can borrow that money, and we can do that so that it does not increase the burden to pay the debt. So taxes will not go up to pay that debt. And not one dime of the investment that the hotel and the retail structures and the other development that will occur as a result of that happening in our downtown, not one dime of it is planned for in our debt payments on that bond either. What we've already done is paying for that. That becomes gravy. That becomes the growth. That becomes what enables us to continue to do things in our community that we otherwise would not have been able to do. Our council, our mayor and our council, they get it. They really understand what it takes to make things happen. And it's just not going to be a streetscape. We're also going to put $2.5 million in our Center for the Arts. We're going to move forward with our community master plan that says how do we help create that arts district. We're going to be involved in that. And then we're going to put those dollars also here. In about the next 3 years, you'll see the city of Greer, not counting all the investments that are made by you as a private business or by our other partners like CPW, you'll see us invest about $25 million in our community over the next 3 years. Those plans came from the planning process, from our community master plan. That's why this process is so critically important. In the interest of time, I won't necessarily talk about them individually, but our economic development announcements have been strong. Read it. Look at those announcements. We love it when a company says, I'm going to invest $2 million and create 25 jobs. That is strong and it's powerful and we love it. We love it when you as an employer, you as a private business says, I'm adding 2 people to my staff. That is as important to us as a community as when someone comes and says, I'm going to invest $80 million and hire 150 people. They're both critical. Both of those have to happen for us as a community. About 350 housing starts to date this year. We'll surpass that, obviously, as we record October, November, and December. But in the first 3 quarters, 350 new housing starts inside the city limits. $250 million in investment in that 9-month period. You, and people you know, have invested $250 million in the city of Greer in the last 9 months. And we're very pleased that that is continuing to be our pattern. So good announcements for us. Good things are happening. Commerce. I mean, it's what's important to you, right? What is happening out there that improves the bottom line? What makes the cash register ring? What keeps the meters turning? What are all of those things that are happening? How do we help make sure that that type of investment, that type of activity, that type of success continues? Well, we monitor our retail sales. We came before you about 3 years ago and we announced that we had topped $1 billion. We grew 12% from 2016 to 17. We are now at $1.3 billion. 12% from 16 to 17. 54% from 2014 to 17. 2010 to 17, 188% growth in retail sales in the city of Greer. It's working. And we hope that you feel it at your cash register. We hope you feel it when you're hiring. We hope that you feel it when you're looking at expanding. But we want to make sure you keep investing. Keep investing in this community because more is coming. More good things will happen. We leveraged about $16, $17 million when we did these projects. Threefold investment coming back in the downtown area. We're going to invest $25 million over the next 3 years. We absolutely anticipate that it will be an exponential reinvestment by the public sector. That's why we do it. That's why it works. Thank you very much.